All right, before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and pass some information here. If you would like to get our e-newsletter, please put your name, email, and zip code on there, some bumper stickers. And my contact information, that's around these cards. All right, a lot of people hear that I'm a teacher and they say, what are you doing getting involved in tax reform? And it goes back to Charleston being one of the test market cities for the fair tax plan. They actually got started by asking people, what do you want in a tax system? And this was 1998 when this all got started. And we had just bought a house, and my wife decided she wanted new cabinets, she wanted new carpet, and we had to sell some mutual funds to buy that. And we didn't know how much money we owed on selling the mutual funds. We had to pay somebody $600 just to figure out how much we owed. So I said, you bet I'd like a tax system where you don't get taxed multiple times on what you earn. And the fair tax just made a lot of sense. You pay tax one time on things that you buy and get to keep what you earn and what you invest. Great idea. They introduced the bill in Congress in 1999. It's Bill H.R. 25 and S.13. I'll go into more on that later. But for years I didn't do anything to promote the cause. And it was 2004 when finally I looked around and talked to my wife and said, hey, if we're going to make this happen, we're going to have to get involved and tell other people about it. And this is about the same time that Senator DeWitt signed on to the fair tax bill in the House of Representatives. And he was running against Inez Tenenbaum. And Inez Tenenbaum ran those misleading ads where she's standing in front of the cash register and she says, Jim DeWitt wants to cause the price of everything you buy to go up 23%. And Senator DeWitt didn't have a very good response to that, and he kind of got scared on the issue. And one thing that you need to know about our tax system right now is the income taxes that we pay are built into the price of goods that we buy and the services that we pay for. The tax costs get passed on in the cost of the good or service. And he was not able to articulate that at the time. He still won handily against a statewide office holder. She was superintendent of education. She actually got the most votes in the previous statewide election, and he beat her by 10%. But he thought that the fair tax issue hurt his campaign, when in fact it didn't. But I said we've got to do a much better job of explaining it to people. So let me say a few brief things about the federal fair tax legislation. I'm going to spend most of the time telling you about how we can have a fair tax in South Carolina, make South Carolina the #1 state in the country for job creation and personal income growth. But the federal bill does a lot of great things. First of all, it takes away the personal income tax, which has the highest rate now of 35%. And if nothing happens in Congress, it will automatically go up to 39.6% on January 1st, 2013. The Bush tax cuts will expire then. It takes away the corporate income tax, which is also 35% and is the highest in the world right now. It hurts all U.S.-made products because businesses are leaving and producing overseas to get a tax benefit. We just tax our corporations too much. And the cost of doing business is too high in America. It does away with the Social Security and Medicare payroll tax, which combined for the employer and the employee is 15.3%. And that's a job killer. Discouragement from bosses to give you a pay raise because they also have to pay more into Social Security and Medicare. It does away with the capital gains, which I experienced firsthand when I had to sell mutual funds to fix up the house. And capital gains is a tax on taxes that you've already paid. So that's a discouragement to investment. It does away with the dividends tax. Everybody remembers when Oprah gave away those cars, and all of a sudden people got hit with an IRS tax bill. It's called the gift tax. And the guy that caught that home run ball from Derek Jeter, the IRS has already hit him up for, I think, a $14,000 gift tax. Just outrageous, outrageous. That is true. They jumped right on it.
Did he sell him the ball or did he give him the ball?
He gave Derek Jeter the ball, and then the Yankees gave him complimentary tickets and memorabilia, and he'll have to pay the gift tax on the value of those tickets. Right, or Roper giving you a car. It's correct. You cannot justify the tax system that we have today. It's just absolutely insane. And then the other tax, which is probably the most egregious of all, is the death tax, or so-called estate tax, where starting on January 1st, 2013, the government will be able to take away 55% of what a family has worked a lifetime building. The value of the property, the value of all the holdings, everything that somebody owns, the government gets 55% on the estate tax. So that is just unjustifiable. So those taxes go away, and we fund the government at the same levels that we're generating now with a 23% consumption tax on new goods only and retail services. So it completely simplifies our tax system. It gives incentive for people to make things in America and to hire folks. And it fully funds Social Security and Medicare. It's a much more sustainable income source for Social Security and Medicare than we have now. We're already in a huge shortfall for Social Security because it's funded by the payroll tax, and we have 9.2% unemployment. We don't have enough people paying in to pay after the seniors. And a lot of baby boomers in this room here, and baby boomers are retiring billions every year, and we're not going to be able to sustain that system if we rely on a payroll tax. It cannot be done. So that's a huge benefit to the federal fair tax bill to make Social Security and Medicare sustainable, and hopefully reform it in other ways as well. But that's the fair tax bill. It's been in Congress since 1999. In the House, we've got 62 co-sponsors, more than any other tax reform legislation. Our South Carolina sponsors on the House bill are my Congressman Tim Scott from the 1st District, which goes from Myrtle Beach down to Charleston, and Jeff Duncan up in the 3rd District, which goes from Macon up to the Piedmont area. So in the Senate, M13, Jim DeMint got back on board when he was faced with a challenger named Alvin Green, who decided that fair tax wouldn't hurt his campaign. He's believed in it all along. And so he's one of our sponsors. Senator Graham is not a sponsor. So I'm going to give you a congressional switchboard number if you'd like to call Congressman Wilson or Senator Lindsey Graham and get them to co-sponsor. It's 202-225-3121. And you can get any member of Congress by dialing that switchboard number. So once again, 202-225-3121, and ask them to join the effort. I'm not really pushing the federal fair tax legislation because with this president in office, it's never going to pass.